Hello and thanks for joining me on another garden episode. I am standing or squatting next to the green monster. I made some mistakes when it came to planting. This is from a few videos ago, the bed where I put I think about 9 cucumbers and 2 tomatoes, and the cucumbers have spread all over. I cannot keep up with the growth because we had about 2 weeks where it rained just about every other day, if not every day, and my garden has really expanded. The squash, gourds, and melons are for sure the ones that have exploded the most, so I'm going to show you some of the things that have been growing. Starting with the cucumbers. So each of these trellises has 3 cucumbers on it, and one of the first things that I did that I was unaware of was plant what's called a parthenocarpic cucumber. It means that the cucumber doesn't have any males, and I'll show you. Every single node on here has a female. This plant doesn't have any male cucumber flowers at all. So eventually they don't need pollination, and they just start to grow on their own. So I have an abundance of cucumbers and the plant grows very vigorously. And then I have a regular cucumber over on these 2, which are growing and growing and growing, and they grow all the way down. There's also some along the back, and there's the cantaloupe that I put in here. Unfortunately, with the spacing, the cantaloupe, which is mostly along the front, doesn't seem to get good pollination. I think I have 1 cantaloupe with all the greenery, and this is the back of the trellis as well. So it's just a lot of green, and there's 1 more cantaloupe in here. I greatly underestimated the growth in this bed, and then planting the one type of cucumber, I'm going to have loads of cucumber because there's plenty that I've picked and plenty still on the vine starting to grow. The tomatoes here are doing okay. I'm making sure to cut around. And down here, you can see that there is a tomato growing already on this one. I try to plant the cucumbers or cut the leaves away from the tomatoes so that the tomatoes aren't overgrown. But this is what my cucumber patch looks like right now. I have a lot of trimming to do. Moving over to the bed that originally had two pumpkins planted. It's not the plant that I thought it was. I thought this was my cheese pumpkin, but it appears that it's either butternut or cushaw. I'm unsure, but I added a trellis that wasn't here before. I added a trellis in over this bed, and my thought process was the strawberries don't need to have as much sunlight now that it's in the heat of the summer, so the pumpkin will help shade, or I should say the cushaw will help shade out the strawberries to keep the strong summer heat from it. And when the strawberries are fruiting, the cucumbers and the squash and stuff won't be planted, so there won't be any blockage of sunlight in the early spring and summer. But this trellis is brand new, and the cushaw seems to be growing. I think it's going to end up being a cushaw because I believe butternut has the white splotches on the leaf, and these leaves don't have anything. Here's one of the newly pollinated fruits on that, and that looks more of like a cushaw to me than a butternut squash. I added 1 more trellis in over my current strawberry bed, which I intend to move the strawberries into the bed over there, and I'm going to have the pumpkins, which are planted over here. This trellis is not going to support them. They are already crowded out towards the bottom, so I am training them to the trellis over here. You can see where I had a bit more success with training them to the trellis. but my melon, well, my pumpkin, my gourds, they are growing out of control. This onion bed is slowly being harvested. I'm not harvesting onions until the neck is loose and able to bend. I only have 3 red onions left and like 3 yellow onions left. I'm leaving the fennel in here to let it go to seed. Once the onions have been harvested, I am curing the onions inside in the indoor garden area. I wish I learned about this trick 2 years ago when I started growing onions for the first time, but I'm cutting off the extra greenery, leaving a good portion at the top still of the green, and hanging the onions upside down in between the slats. About 2 weeks after I filmed the first part of the video, this is what the updated green monster looks like. You can see on the leaves there's a lot of yellowing, and these cucumbers just got really beat up. The rain never slowed down in my area. I either got rain every day consecutively or every other day. So they produced quite a bit of cucumbers for me. I've got a lot of jar of pickles, but they took a hit and I wasn't able to prune them enough. So I am considering ripping these out and putting a new batch in, but I haven't made a final decision. So that's a quick update on some of my squash and gourds and melons and cukes. If you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe. And as always, thank you so much for watching.